Hey guys, this is Hell Hades. This is going to be the Fateless update. Pretty much a quarterly update at this point. 3 months ago since I told you about the last thing. It's actually 14 months since I first did a video saying we are launching Fateless. And now our first game, Godforge, is well underway. I want to give you a general update. All 10 of our launch factions have now been released in terms of who they are and the type of heroes you're going to be able to collect from those. I'm going to go through each of those 10 factions, show you some of the hero art, 2D, 3D, and some of the environmental art that comes alongside it. We're basically in a position that all of our content for launch is now what's called feature locked. So we've developed the different designs for the different features we want to launch with. We've also got a kind of roadmap already of live ops drops of content that comes after that. All of this stuff is already being planned, coded, the math behind it's all being done. All of that stuff is now being basically developed based on our plans at Fateless, which is really cool. The whole design team are basically degenerates that love this style of game. Me included, Saf included. There's a whole bunch of us that basically design the game ground up because we understand this genre of game really well. You know, turn-based, hero collector, cool kind of like boss fights, almost some of that MMO feel to a mobile game. And yes, it will be mobile and PC on launch. But yeah, the design team absolutely get it. Okay, so rest assured that the features are going to be absolutely sweet. Still though, if you've got ideas for how to make this style of game really cool, come and join the Discord. We have got over 20,000 people in the Fateless Discord, and we welcome the ideas. I read every single one. Some of those are literally going onto the backlog of live ops gameplay, stuff we're gonna launch over time. So rest assured, we are listening and we are improving all the time. So as I said, we're on track to launch in summer 25, summer next year, with a beta coming up in probably March, end of February, around March. You can sign up to the beta right now. We've got over 20,000 people signed up to the beta already. They'll be on this website here, and you can come and get involved. And by the way, you can also come and support the game development by joining the Patreon here, where we've got over 600 members currently. Appreciate everybody who's already in the mix doing that. It literally pays for our community management team. Like, hands up, that's what it's doing. So really appreciate anybody who is in the mix with that. Now, in terms of like project, we're on track. So we launched the project in its entirety probably 18 months ago, but we started writing code about 14 months ago. We're on track to launch summer 25, which is awesome. We're in this kind of phase right now where we're working with strategic investors. So we did an initial investment round. That's basically how we've been able to build the project to where it is today. And we're moving into the strategic investment round, which we're doing right now. So the leadership team are heavily involved in that, basically to give us the scope to scale to the level that we want to with Fateless. And that's not just with Godforge, but with the vision of multiple games after that as like a full game studio. Now I've got to say, this is the most challenging, most rewarding, most exciting, like awesome venture that I've ever taken on. And I've done some pretty cool stuff now. I've been very fortunate to be in this space, doing obviously the YouTube stuff, building out the HH Gaming brand. And this, for me, surpasses it, but it is tough. Like, it is way beyond what I ever dreamed it would be in terms of complexity to do this type of stuff. Now, you've got to say hats off to anyone in this space that has developed a good game, or anyone who's developed a game, honestly. So much that goes into it, it's insane. So I'm going to show you a whole bunch of the different assets, the artwork and that today, but there's way more that goes into it than what you're going to see today. You know, we're doing a cinematic, okay? That's going to be the opening experience for the game. It is like League of Legends, Valorant, Overwatch quality. That's the quality level we've hit. I'm in a meeting twice a week going through the different shots. We could spend 30 minutes talking about one shot in the cinematic because of the level of fidelity we're talking about, the feeling we want people to have. We've teamed up with Serena Bell, who's a phenomenal singer, who's producing a brand new track for our cinematic. We've then got another team doing parallax cutscenes. So at the end of a campaign kind of level, we're basically going to be telling you the story of what's going on in our world, where these kind of like heroes, myths and legends all come together, these gods, why they're on the same plane, how they've come to be in the same space. And we've got the lore writer. It's basically one of the OG World of Warcraft writers when the game was sweet. He's doing all of our lore work, well, with us, with our input. So that's super sweet as well. The Parallax scene is literally kicking off, and we've got a number of them lined up to keep that story going throughout the game. Talking story, anytime we do a big live ops event, it will come with a punch of story. Okay, we want that lore to be alive, and it will be an event. Yeah, we're thinking world bosses. We're thinking kind of like dropping dungeon mutations with basically something where it's like, damn, what's coming next? And that's the type of vibe we want with people playing Godforge. Okay, so we're going to launch with about 250 heroes. That's the plan. About 80 of them have already been built, and a number of the bosses have already been built as well. So we've got 10 different factions here, and they're all related to or connected to different mythologies in our world. But ultimately, it's our take on it, and we can do whatever we want. If down the future we want to create our own completely unheard of gods, we can do it. But for now, we're basically taking 10 different regions. So the Virage here is basically like a Slavic area, Romania, Slavic type of world. Aru is like our Egyptian theme. Avalon is kind of like the British Celtic type of vibe. Sakaiba is going to be more like the Aztec vibe. Svarga is like Indian, Hindu, that type of thing. Khajiiti's Japanese. Olympus is going to be your Greek, which is probably those in the Aru are going to be some of the most well-known gods and legends. Jade is based on the kind of like Chinese style. Eka is like Babylon type of area. And then Asgard is like your Norse. So each of them got their own identity and got their own faction of heroes. So some of our factions are more fleshed out than others. This is the Virage kind of like, I guess, theming for concept level. So you've got Baba Yaga here, which is kind of like a well-known, is it like a fairy tale? I'm not sure. But anyway, a well-known kind of lore from the Slavic world. The hut of Baba Yaga, a forest clearing in the middle, a rickety hut perched atop chicken legs and surrounded by a fence made of human bones. So you can kind of get the different theming here for what's coming in for the level design and the type of color scheme. So each of the different concepts in is going to have a different color scheme. Our style of combat is very much this kind of like cinematic view, which you might have seen. So if you come over and follow Fateless YouTube channel, we do a video every week showcasing the game, showcasing the development, and we also do a podcast talking about stuff gaming as well. So you should come and join that if you're interested in the project at all, where we show off more of the game, like the gameplay, that type of stuff. But yeah, we have this kind of, I guess, cinematic world so we can get right in close to the different concepts. So we don't have too many heroes in this faction fleshed out yet. We've got a lot of the concepting done, but this is Maria Morevna. It's going to be a warrior style for us. And you can see how the work is done to understand the cultures, understand the type of weaponry they might use based on lore, based on fragments of information we can get. Very cool, kind of like different visual style for what we're going for. Actually, this is very different to a number of our different factions right now. We have a lot more fleshed out for the Aru, though, the Egyptian faction. So you can see the kind of level designs here. Yeah, we still got the kind of like three-wave approach in this level. We've also got this kind of reliquary or secret room area that you can go into if you can unlock it. So this is like a discovery system within our game and different call outs to the Aru factions. And you can kind of see what that looks like when you're zoomed in and you get a better view. One of the more recent concepts that came through here, which is the workshop of Ptah. I think I'm saying that right, which is very sweet. I really like the color scheme here. Very, very cool level concept art, which will go into the next level of development. We've got some big hitters in this faction. So this is a close-up of Ra. You can see the level of quality of visual that's going into the workmanship. And this is kind of like almost like magma veins, which have been built in to his design. If we actually look at his original concept you can see what we're going for with Ra. Cool weaponry. It's kind of like smoldering feel to his skin as he's got the power of the sun running through his veins. He's literally shedding his skin while he's standing still. So Ra looking very sweet. We've also got some very cool, unique style visuals on heroes like the Sphinx here. We've gone for a female Sphinx, so different to what you might expect. Generally, in lore, sphinxes for Egyptian were female. Trying to remember where the male ones were from, but it was actually a different region. So got a very never-ending stories type of vibe, and the Sphinx is now being modeled into 3D as well, and it looks absolutely phenomenal. Anubis, who's looking very, very cool with his kind of like big scythe, and again we've got him in game with VFX popping off already. Kind of get a flavor of what that looks like. Yeah, the Aru faction is really, really looking strong. And we take a look at some of the assets now made for the Avalon factions. This is like that Celtic feel, a lot of greenery, very British, I guess, style with the kind of vibes, you know, lots of forestry, this kind of like Celtic vibe going on some of the statue work. And then we've got that then plays through in the level design as well, some of the concepting we've done. And again, it just kind of like gives you a feel for what the different environments will play and look like. Now the Avalon is where you get the kind of like King Arthur lore, you know, Lady of the Lake, the Fisher King. This is the concepting that was done for the Fisher King, who is basically I'm not sure if it's the protector of the Grail or the one who found the Grail, but ultimately he's dead. And yeah, looking very, very badass here. We have got Merlin. Merlin was one that I showcased just the other day. So real kind of like hard work gone on to do some of the call outs. You've got like the dragon wings here. We've got the toad on the weapon. Yeah, the sort of worm drake on the weapon as well with the Amethst kind of like base. Just very cool, like specific call outs to the different heroes we're doing. We've got Mordred here done in 3D, the Dark Knight. We've got someone, again, very different, Dagonet here, who again is kind of made now into 3D. He's got animations, but the kind of like Jester turned Knight, which King Arthur turned on. So yeah, really, really interesting faction. The Green Knight, kind of like vibe for him. Really cool to see that the heroes develop from, you know, initial 2D mock-ups to full 3D, and then with their weapon, and then with their animations. And let's not forget that we need a dragon as well. So call him YDG because his name's too hard to say. It's like Y-Dragosh or something like that. It's a Welsh name, but you can kind of get a vibe. Once the dragon is animated, it's going to be very, very sweet to see. But yeah, Avalon faction is looking very, very cool. Kyber faction, again, very sweet level designs in the Kyber faction. We don't have that many heroes developed yet, but I'll show you a couple. But the level design feels very, very cool. And again, we've really gone into some detail around some of the call outs of the artwork, the buildings, making sure that we get the right type of materials, the right type of feel for each of these different things. And we've pushed the limit, I think, on certain assets because we will be up close and in the mix for the combat. Yeah, here's another one here, the Temple of Kukulkan, which again, because you're going to be up close and personal, you're basically going from one level to level as you're getting your way towards the boss. And yeah, very, very sweet call outs. So this is pretty sure it's a common, the Eagle Archer here from the kind of like Aztec vibe. Again, already modeled. This is 3D in game. And then we've got a concept in here for Exolotl, I think is how you say it. But again, badass, honestly. This is kind of like, okay, well, front view, back view, side view. This is what we do for the 3D artists to be able to, you know, do that kind of modeling work really well and make sure they get all the detailing that we want. Right, onto the Svarga. This is the only faction where we don't actually have a hero yet because I don't know, they're going to be more complex. Forearm stuff is just harder to animate. We're basically working our way up to this, but we've done a bunch of the sort of level concepting here. Again, making sure we got the right type of call outs. I mean, the color schemes and the concepting feels sweet to me, but yeah, it's just early days on the Svarga. Compare that to Kajiki, where we are well on our way, honestly, to some awesome stuff. So again, we can kind of look at some of the call outs for our level designs and, you know, trying to make sure that we keep the right type of visual feel, type of courtyard, how people will be in the mix, and how that looks from like a gameplay type of vibe. And you can see some of the environments now brought into 3D in engine. We've got kind of like this volcanic environment where you will see kind of running lava going on. We've got the courtyard here for the dojo, probably a boss arena type of vibe. Got the moonlight coming in when the technical artists get to play with what's going on. We do have heroes like Musashi already built, already developed in 3D, fully animated. So yeah, this is going to be probably one of my favorite factions, honestly, because there's just so much kind of like cool lore, cool artwork, and yeah, cool heroes in this one. So for the Olympus faction, we're going to get that kind of real feel of the columns, the statues, you know, that type of regal feel. Yes, we're in the Midas Palace here, which is going to be one of our boss locations. You know, the big hitters, the Leonidases, Artemis, the Hercs, like very, very cool heroes in this faction. We do have a couple which are being like fully fleshed out. I don't know, comment down below. Do you know which one this one is? Onto the Jade, which is like the Chinese themed. We've got the Great Wall type of area concepting out. Some of the cool statues here are really sweet, actually. Again, really, really love this type of visual. Check this out as a concept for level art. Really great. And then we've got heroes that are already made. So Zulong is done. Pangu, who is going to be one of the legendaries here with the axe, which was the World Splitter. I think this was called. Basically created yin and yang, which is the kind of theming of the axe. Super sweet concept on this one. We've got Yan Wang already created with his kind of basically his eyes in his hat. No, it's kind of like the Overlord of Death or something like that for the Chinese factions. Very, very sweet. And that was based off of this type of concept in here. Really cool. So really different aesthetics based on the different factions we're in. With two factions to go then. So we've got the Echo here with this kind of like Babylon, Sumerian type of vibe. Again, you've got the Ishtar Gate, you know, the aqueduct sort of feel. This then like lends itself to some in-game assets that we've already got that we're working through. We've got heroes like Shamash, who is the sun god for this faction, and he has already been made in 3D for us and is currently being animated as well. So Shamash is looking super sweet, giving his fiery glare, which leads us honestly to Asgard as the final faction to talk about. And I think the concepting for the level designs for Asgard is awesome. It's really, really well done. I love the visuals. I love the color schemes. Again, some of these 3D assets, or most of the 3D assets, are actually already made for what we're seeing here. Got a massive hammer here. And I guess this is going to be the big reveal, because this hero was finished yesterday, which is our version of Freya. And honestly, so pleased with the final visual. So good. Really, really well done. Texture on the wings, texture on the armor. Such a cool visual of Freya here. You can kind of see the different elements. Vidar, who's going to be one of the kind of like the warriors. We've got Beowulf, who was kind of like concepted out and then made into 3D here. There's been some videos about him as well from other content creators that are covering Godforge. This is another new one that's just come through as well as a concept, which is Ran. She's kind of like connected to the sea, I guess. Very cool. So yeah, I mean, hopefully that gives you a good flavor of where we're at, what we're doing. As I say, we're still on track. We can't wait to get people playtesting this in our beta. Make sure you come and sign up. And yeah, I will keep you updated probably in about another 3 months when we do the next big reveal. So there you go. I've been Hell Hades. I'll see you soon.